draft is just about ready to get started. It's just gonna update the screen real fast. We've got this exciting matchup going, and 360. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little bit hyped for this match tonight. So Daraya coming in 0-2, so not the greatest start, but this is week 2. This is a new fresh start for them, and this is really where they can get going. Well, if you look on the opposite side of Redeemed Esports, fun fact, they are 1-1, so they do have that win on the board. But there isn't too much that separates these teams, especially when you think about it from just just a win perspective. It's literally just one loss, one win. Everything right now is just so tight. It's too early to tell who's going to be the great teams, who's going to be the kind of mediocre teams, and who's going to be towards the bottom of the standings. So these two teams do have a lot to prove. Redeemed, I feel, obviously, I think they had a slightly stronger showing in their two games. They took a decent couple of games that looked decent. Well, Darya, they seem like at least to me they need to fix their drafting a bit. And that's all I
I'll
have to say.
agree with that one. We see this draft has already gotten well underway. Cruel Taka bans, respect bans.
Oh, yeah. So
Wrong.
okay, all
Yeah,
right.
go for
So
it.
sorry about that. I had some issues with my PC, I guess. So Celeste and Rona automatically right now. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking that's a pretty kind of good sign that you're going to have really definitely a just kind of protect the Celeste kind of comp. Put something in front of you that's more of a meat shield. Rona does that well. I like the Arden Band from Daria. That is probably the best thing that they can do. They have a fortress. I'm looking for them to kind of pair it up with a couple of things. Grumpjaw is available. Rezo is also an option. They also do have to
Is
think
also
about the mid.
available.
Yeah, Taka is. Oh wait, not Taka, but they have options.
You did say that there might run sort of a protect the Celeste comp, but we've got Fortress and Alpha, who are two extremely good dive heroes on the other side. So, and especially Vox, he's very good at dishing damage out. So Rona's job here is just going to be exactly like you said, protect the Celeste. And as we bulk up these lineups here a little bit, that could be the difference here for Redeemed, to keep their game alive. Is how do you balance this dive? Maybe like a Batiste,
Well,
a Grumpjaw of your own.
despite the fact that oh wow, okay, they really went heavy on the Protect the Celeste. Lance is a pick in with Lyra. I'm actually really surprised about this. I was gonna say like maybe we don't go towards like the extreme kind of cops. With things like Vox, you can take another potential mid laner, and so you have a decent amount of range and kind of just stay at a decent kind of area and really focus on just playing out a decent game versus going in on hard in on the dive. Whereas Redeem Esports have effectively made that a non-option. Either you go for that hard dive, or you're just not going to touch the Celeste ever. Lance plus Lyra in combination is incredibly good. Now, I do like the Grace pickup from Darya. I think this isn't going to be a very heavy damage matchup. You're going to see a couple of carries, namely the Celeste and Vox dealing most damage. You have a couple others that can kind of do so, but it's mostly about how well each of the abilities can execute. What are your timings? And I think that's going to be the most impactful thing as we go into this game.
If I'm Redeemed Esports right now, I want to definitely fight more in the jungle area where there's more areas for Lance to hit his CCs. And they're banning Flicker here, which is interesting. Githian Wall in the middle of a lane isn't going to do a whole much for you in the stun department. And
No, but it does provide some sort of defense, and if you combine that with the bulwark, that can also be good. I'm also looking right now for Redeem to think about potentially like a Baptiste. That would, I think, of course, further push the idea of the Protect the Celeste comp, and it's also CP hero. Tony banned out here. I mean, I don't think that was necessarily on the table right now for Redeem, simply because of how much CC they already have, but it's still a good hero overall. So I'm calling this now. This is gonna be I don't know, this is gonna be a Baptiste. Calling this. This is like perfect for him.
and especially since we've got only one CP hero in the Celeste, and I'm assuming Lance is going to be a weapon
Oh,
jungler.
okay,
Oh,
I'm
or
wrong.
maybe not. We've got a Gwen.
All right, so
Redeemed.
I mean, it makes sense. I thought that they would have gone in all in the Celeste, but you know what? That's fine. Gwen, again, is reasonable. Um, prepare to roast me, Twitch chat. Please do.
Tim, please.
Yeah, no. So Daraya on the other side, I mean, I think they have to go with another range carry, specifically the mid laner Samuel is picked up to supplement that. So this is interesting, and I'm honestly not sure who I favor in this matchup. It seems relatively even. Obviously, I I am
Samuel.
I am kind of a little bit excited with just how well the Rune and the Celeste will pair together, plus the ridiculous amount of CC. Rona being there is just another threat for Darya to get. So essentially, someone stacks up. Versus on the Darya side, you have Vox, you have Samuel, you can poke a decent amount, but when you need to really turn it on, a Fortress, a Grace, and an Alpha can really find that caught out target. So I do like these comps. We're going into the game right now. The players are picking. So how do you feel, Burger, about this game?
I feel that Darya has the better draft right now. They've got, 3 heavy dives that can delete a Gwen, that can delete a Celeste, because they're both probably going to be pretty squishy. And on the side of Redeemed, they do have a ridiculous amount of CC, but maybe if Fortress gets a second Crucible on as the jungler and, kind of half captain, that could do a lot to keep their team alive. And I think Darya is going to pick up their first win of the season here.
All right, bold prediction. Let's see how it pays off. Or bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off. Sorry, my quote game is not on point today. So, finally, the teams are out. They're about to get going. Now, so a little bit though. Why do you think that Darya really has that edge?
I think Darya has the edge in the in team fights, like big 5-on-5, slam fights. And whereas poking, I feel like Celeste is your number one poke hero. You can just lay down those whole heliogenesis stars to do a lot of damage. Gwen, who's buckshot, paired with a tension bow, can do a lot of damage, especially to turrets. So I feel like Darya, if they're gonna commit to a fight, they need to commit to a fight. They can't just kind of dawdle around and poke. If they do commit, I do think they're going to take this one.
Well, I mean that is always an option. The other thing though is that just how defensively is Redemption going to be playing, or excuse me, Redeemed? Because Redeemed, if what they do is they kind of sit back, they have a Lyra who can simply heal up. You have a Gwen, you have a Celeste that are probably the two best pokers in terms of return damage. I guess yes, Vox has decent wave clear, but eventually the health pools aren't going to be there because of how fast things are going to be taken. So Redeemed really focusing some pressure here on the mid lane.
Mini Sido here going to be poked down a little bit by those heliogenesis. Your 2 bot lane carries are going to be taking up that jungle farm, as well as top, going to take those respective healing treants. And here gets a bit of a CS lead. This is going to be good for him to get that early lead over Samuel. But Samuel does have the blue buff, so that'll be interesting to see how that one plays out.
Well, he does get quite a nice wave to pick up here, so he should be a little bit more recovered. And in fact, Red hasn't actually gotten all that much CS. He has 3 CS to Sasuke's 10. I don't think he last hit very well, but we have a team fight going here in the jungle.
A quick first blood. 2 kills already for Darya, and that's exactly what I was talking about. You've got your 3 huge dive carries right there, and they did their job. They performed that dive really well, and that's 2 more kills right there. One up in the mid lane, and that's 4-0 already, Darya.
Yeah, no, that was just a brilliant roam from Darya. Basically, they had the kind of 3-man pack of Mini, Sidonia, and Praise just really wrecking havoc, and they're focusing maybe a little bit onto JR. Oh, he's been caught.
Caught the swarming, drifting dark rather, is going to take him, but Mini Sido in trouble, going to pop his flask, dodges out the core collapse, Root's going to miss from Lance. He's going to slap them away, but Praise here on the Fortress is unrelenting, but they're going to have to back off here. Not a whole lot more they can do. As a Red Spider, just going to go back to clearing his wave. And speaking of clearing waves, C9 Old School has got a pretty sizable one down to that bot lane turret.
Yeah, no, he has quite a lead down here. So I guess Daraya, they're really kind of showing up this game. Their ganks have been quite good. The Roam, I really do like the way that they're playing out their composition. I really would like to see them kind of focus a little bit specifically on the top lane, maybe free Sidonia from really just pressuring, just make sure that he only has to wave clear so that he can help in team fights like potentially what we may have going on. No, they're just going to back up.
Not too much at stake here to really commit. The Crystal Treant going to go back Sasuke's way here. And the gold lead is already about 3,000 in Daria's favor. That 5 kills certainly helping. See just a bit of pokage in the mid lane. See that top lane Lyra, not something that we normally see in Vainglory, but here comes the root from Joshua. He's going to slam Sasuke into the wall, but Red Spider's going to get dove upon. He pops his flash just to stay alive, but Daria's in a very good spot right here to shove this mid lane with reinforcements coming from Praise and Sido. Kelmeki's going to get lit up, and there's huge magic bolts from everyone's favorite edgy wizard is going to take him down with ease.
Yeah, no, that was just, again, this just push right now from Daraya is so good. They're still pushing in the mid lane, but you look at how they're applying their pressure. They're finding a couple kills here and there, then they're focusing their objectives. Sidonia up in the top lane, able to get this mid lane turret pretty much for free, while Praise is still doing so much damage to Mirek, so they're pushing down the mid lane turret, and you see that Redeemed is just having to commit bodies to try and keep the health up.
He's already got his Storm Crown. Fortress does, and that huge damage already just stupidly huge. Actually, Sasuke is just going to take that free kill, about half of a turret as well. Looking so good as Jay-Z is going to get his tension bow here. Old School going to narrowly avoid getting caught out at the shop. Turn our attention back to the mid lane. That turret is still taking lots of damage, but Mirek is going to be not quite sustained by Lyra. Kelmek is not going to do enough. Sido gets rooted by the Treant. EU Treants back here in the North American Champions League. And we do have reinforcements from Josh and Red coming down, but it's not going to look like they're going to commit to anything.
Yeah, no, I don't think that they will. Right now, one of the worst things that you can do if you're redeemed, and this is kind of like rule one in any MOBA, is when you're down, you do not want to keep feeding. That is the worst thing you can do. I just want to see them kind of back up and try to work towards the late game, because if they can get to a late game point, they can get Rona her couple of items. Now, I do have to ask, though, Mirek, why the frick is he building an Aftershock? That actually makes no sense to me.
It's a... Oh, wait, you're right. He is getting towards an Aftershock. That's actually very interesting, but turret gonna go down. Actually, top lane while everyone was fighting in the mid lane, that they Alpha just kept on pushing. Red Spider gonna get jumped on. So much damage already. 255 damage from those magic bolts. Gonna be enough to take him almost dead. Here comes Mirek with the dive. He's gonna dive on Sasuke. He's gonna get stunned up by Holy Nova. He's gonna jump away, and that huge damage gonna be dropped onto Red. There's not a whole lot he can do in this fight right now, besides just back off and try not to die. Going to come up from the top lane. And then this turret, it's going to fall. Not a whole lot they can do about it. And
and on the back of that, C9 Old School winning a 1v1 in the bot lane, he should be able to take this turret with relative ease. Takes that down 11-0 in favor of Daraya right now, and it's just quite crazy to me how well Daraya has been playing. Everything that they're doing right now seems to just be working. They're getting the individual matchups. It seems like they're just playing better overall. Their macro game is nearly perfect. And Redeemed, they just don't really have any response. Again, I do have to mention the Mirek's build. Yes, I have seen a couple of times where people will try to make a CP Rona work, and sometimes it can, but the problem is that you don't really have any real weapon threat. Maybe Red can get there eventually, but now it's just more It's just more shielding against the Celeste.
Yeah, and if he is going Aftershock, then who's going to be their second weapon carry, do you think? As Mini Saito gets caught out a little bit here, he's going to dive onto Kalmeki, he's going to get stunned up by Core Collapse, and that's going to be the first kill for Redeemed Esports. Prey is going to get caught out a little bit. He gets stunned by the Aces High.
Old school
getting rooted, but Old School is... Oh, man. I can't even, break this down fast enough. They're killing him too quickly. Jay-Z going to get jumped on. 393 damage already getting dropped on him. That's more than turret shots. Old School.
That's not allowed.
So deep in. Red Spider going to get... He's going to stun him up, but it's not even going to matter. C9, Old School, the Vox that he's known so well for is going to work. In the second mid turret, 14-1, 11,000 gold up. Daraya can just shove this entire lane right now.
Well, that was just quite a ridiculous push. Yes, it's a 4v5, but you're dealing against a Crystal Vox. He will demolish your team in 3 abilities. First, he presses the B button, then he presses his A, and then he uses his ult, and oh my gosh, he's so good. Now, Kalmek, he's in a little bit of trouble here, as he's going to get taken down.
Portal there as he avoids death, but not for long. Lance is going to die already. Red Spider just taking too much damage. He can't afford to be this far back. But Mini Saito...
Pro block!
Mirex, he's so low. He has a little bit of sustain, but it's going to be enough. Prey's also on 1 HP. Sasuke taking turret shots. Red gonna get deleted.
All right, so this is just basically Saito styling on everyone. Now, there are a couple of return kills for Redeemed, but really it just all is on the Daraya. Basically, flash applies Saito. You just saw him right there over the wall taking down JR's Red. There are a couple of return kills, but overall, there are literally no more tier 2 turrets left. You're all down to basically your tier 3 isn't. In fact, the bottom one is already down, so you do have an exposed armory. This really isn't a good position for, well, anyone. And I think, I mean, honestly, with Daraya, the way that they've been playing it, they just need to get their health bars up, and they can keep diving these turrets all day and all night long, because there's nothing really that's scary from the side of Redeemed coming out right now. They don't have any real coordination. Their Lance and Lyra hasn't been kind of grouping. Their team fights are non-existent. It's just been basically who gets picked off first. They need to wait, get their gold up, and contest things like these Ghostwing, but be very, very cautious when you do, because, I mean, one person dies, team fight is over.
And speaking of team fights over, Ghostwing is going to get captured here. That's going to be a huge buff. And Old School, no fear, just fight. He's doing so much damage. 300 damage basic attacks already. And Kalmeki's going to have
on the flank.
Portal. He's going to dodge the Aces High.
Holy
so much
crap.
damage. That's an entire team kill in one ult. It seems like there's nothing they can do. Triple kill for Old School. Come on, Samuel, give him the penta. And Joshua, the only remaining member alive, he's going to slap him away, but he's going to get caught out and quadra kill. C9 Old School.
Yeah, no, C9 Old School is absolutely doing work. The other thing is that Prey was ridiculous. Sasuke did exactly what he needed to do. Mini Saito made the entire comp work together. This is just such a coordinated team. And you have to think right now, Daraya looks incredibly scary against this Redeemed roster. They're fighting right now, but this all is insignificant. Daraya has just been such a good team. They have such a big lead that they can respond as many times as you want. Daraya will just kill you right at the spawn.
Yep, and that's the game. 12 minutes, excuse me, not 20, as 27-3, Daraya Esports will stomp Redeemed and get their first win of the season. And man, what went wrong there?
Well, I'm going to first kind of point out, so if you look at the builds, I mean, it was kind of all over the place. Comiskey's going clockwork first, all right. That's, I guess, kind of understandable, because you want the bulwark up. The JR Red and Red Spider, they're fine. I would have liked the Dragon's Eye. I feel like their builds are kind of off. Their coordination wasn't there. They didn't have an understanding of why their comp works. They didn't really execute at all. Normally, you could say, oh, maybe they went into poor execution in their team fights and how they played, but this was just a stop through and through. When Red Spider is literally down in CS, when he's had the lane pushed for a free 2 minutes, I don't know what to tell you. That sometimes just you just get outplayed, and that seems like what happened this game.
The CC unfortunately fall to the dive, as we've seen in Vainglory. The dive is, it's extremely powerful, and it will continue as that will wrap up our evening. Kawaii Anime Girls taking the first series, Daraya Esports taking the second one. My name is Burger. I'm joined by Tree60 No Skill.
Wink, wink.
And have a great night, everybody.